Bright suns and rising moons. Hello, droids. Welcome to the Not the Droids podcast. I'm Danny.
And I'm Mayuri, and today we are going to dig into the second bank of episodes released for Andor, titled Ever Been to Gorman? I Have Friends Everywhere. And I just realized I put that twice. What a festive evening.
Festive evening. What a festive Sunday. It was May the 4th.
I know. I actually so I'll say this year I really enjoyed the takeover of my feed for May the 4th posts. And I think it's because doing this, I've always been generally aware of Star Wars and been like, hey, I like it the last few years, but doing this podcast, watching these shows has really made me appreciate the lore. And so some of these have been really deep cut or weird posts. And I just kind of watching it, I was like, oh my God, I love this even more. So it was fun for me to watch.
I ended up
That
at Disney Springs.
you sent that picture and I was like, where did she get that? It was so
So
cute.
this was all the Lego stores had events through the weekend, and you got to go and you got to make a free Grogu. So we made this when we were in Disney Springs over the weekend.
Oh, that is
So cute.
adorable. I really love their micro sets. It's always so I am a big Lego lover, so I always love how interesting they can do to get the pieces to go together. Um, I love that we put our gift guide together and I literally am just using it as a reminder of all the things I would like to buy for myself.
My
Um,
Legos arrive tomorrow.
I ordered the Star Wars one too.
The logo one.
The
The
logo
Lego,
one.
the logo one. Yeah. I'm planning to put the logo right here.
I was gonna put it on the shelf for this and rearrange the
Well,
figurines
I think
around
my
it.
droids, because I'm getting the chopper droid, and
I figured
chopper.
you ordered that one.
Yeah. Chopper and R2 can so BD1 and Dio are sharing a space, but I don't think Chopper and R2 can. So then I would have to clear out another cube. And instead of doing that, I think putting them all on my top
Yeah.
row, and Grogu's right here.
No,
So
I think that's good.
I think this
Um,
top shelf, and I think the top one instead of the bottom one, because you kind of see the top one more, but maybe we'll figure it out.
I also not even just see it more. I think it some of these sets need the room to breathe for it to be
Yes.
and
Yeah.
I think with the where it would be perfect.
Yeah, so that is what
Um,
I'm thinking is going to be happening. So all these shelves are going to look very different soon when I have the time.
no. I am excited. I'm also trying to rearrange my room a little bit and get maybe some more storage because I need more
Yeah.
shelving for Legos.
So you
So
want to know why we don't have the time to do these things? Because we're watching 3 hours of Andor every
oh
week.
my God. So we were supposed to record this days ago, and I think we both went into this being like, I can't believe these episodes are so
And
long.
and it's not necessarily that, well, it is that they're long, but it's they're a lot to digest. So watching them back to back is too much. So we have now made a rule that we have to do one episode a day. So we're prepared.
It's just so much to consume. I love so here's the thing. I love that the episodes are longer and I
Yes.
feel like if they dropped it on a normal release schedule, I would be more fulfilled than Andor season 1
Mhm.
because I
I
feel like
almost
season 1
wish they would
has
do a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday drop. Like
one every
if they want to
day.
do the sets, yeah, do it one a day.
Well,
So
because I like the sets of the 1 year
yeah,
later and
and it makes
this is where
sense.
they are.
But for one, we're on the East Coast. So when it drops, it's already 9 p.m.
And then so I measured it. There's 7 minutes of credits at the end of each episode, and at 54 minutes, that means they're all basically 48 minutes or 47 minutes long. And so I was just like, I understand that movies are longer now, but it was a lot. It's a lot to watch these. So I watched the
Yeah.
last two back to back. Because I watched the first one the other day and I watched the
See,
second two
I did the
today.
opposite. I did one and two.
and then you watch the other one.
Yeah.
And it was just like I it's a moodier show, and
Mhm.
so you have to be locked in to
Yeah.
be watching it. And when you're
And there's
watching
all
them in
like
a
there's all that
row,
little like subtext and stuff, so you really have to like be catching everything, which I'm fine with, but 3 episodes back to back is like too much because then I'm overstimulated and I like clock out like halfway through.
well, that's why I've found myself being like, well, there are things to do, and I'm like, you can't look away. And in this episode, like these episodes, you kind of feel that because
Yes.
like when you look away, you miss looks.
You miss and you also miss like 3 things that happen with different characters.
And so it's like there's a lot in the body language and even just some of the like B-roll shots, I feel like they're very intentional
Yeah.
B-roll. And so I'm just kind of like, I need to watch everything. I will say what I have been waiting for happened in the last episode finally, because I was just like, you kind of see like Bix is devolving more and
Yes.
more, and I was just like, I don't understand why they don't go after what's his face. Like they're losing a lot of people and intelligence to this person. Like why have they never gone after him before?
We're jumping all the
What?
way to the end.
I know it's to the end, but like I will say it was a very satisfying end
Yeah. Well,
to
why
these
don't
episodes, as opposed to the last one where just like Brasso died, and then we
yeah.
jumped to this, and it was just like there's no mention of him at
No.
all. A year later, he's
Mhm.
not erased from their lives, but he's
There was
like,
no B.
yeah, I
So
told
why don't we
you.
start there? So before we start, this episode aired on April 29th
Oh yeah,
because we kind of skipped things. But since we've already brought up Bix, let's finish because last time we decided we were going to go by
we'll go by
character versus by
character.
plot line. So
So
let's
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 start with
dive into
Bix.
The Bix of it all.
I again, so I went back. We started with Bix's nightmare in episode one, and we started with Bix's nightmare again in this episode.
Not start
But
with it in episode one. You reversed that last time too. We started with Cassian and then it went to Bix's nightmare.
okay, but we started with Bix's nightmare
Yes, but when
here,
Bix's storyline started with her nightmare.
and I thought it was really telling that I wonder if she's been having nightmares over the things that we were doing, right? Because we didn't get the context of her nightmare until later, and
Yeah.
then we realized that Cassian killed someone on her to protect her.
Yeah.
And so she's taking that on as like it being her fault.
Yeah.
And I wonder if like other stuff has happened in the last year
I
that
would
she
assume
has
so.
disagreed with. And I wonder if that's how it like shows up in her nightmares as like Dr. Gorman.
Yeah.
But like she has devolved into this drug addict
Yes.
situation. And I'm worried for her. But like I said, I really enjoyed like her arc through this. I think Lu Luthen didn't decide to like really the information about Dr. Gorman came from the ISB agent. So I wonder if Luthen, when he got that information, was like, actually, that will solve many problems
Yeah.
because they cannot have that investigative unit expand. Because having one guy do it versus like all of the military would be terrible
Yeah.
for the rebellion. So, and then knowing that like he was Bix's abuser, and so like him giving Cassian, and I wonder if the assignment came down to Cassian or Cassian and Bix
Yeah.
because Luthen was trying to solve the Bix problem.
Yeah.
And this solved that for him. So I'm like, there wasn't a lot from Bix these episodes. It was
No.
basically just watching her disintegrate. And I'm hoping that in the next, with like a year later, with knowing that Dr. Gorman is gone and that his entire facility is gone. In fact, they blew the whole thing up.
Yeah, that she's had
Um,
some healing.
Healing.
Yes.
And she gets a little bit like less scared at night. I don't know
Yeah,
that the night
some maybe some closure knowing that he's not out there that
that he can't find her again because I feel like
Yeah.
her nightmares stem from the fact that like
He was
she's
still,
terrified.
yeah.
Yeah. But to go to go into Cassian from Bix, watching Cassian baby Bix this whole episode has to be grating for both of them.
Yeah.
Um, because I feel like we got the least amount of Cassian in these, not like in terms of time, but like in terms of character and development, right? Like you just kind of see what he's been
But
doing.
like the things he's been doing, you have realized that he has like also like developed who he is
He
and what
is.
he does. So like even though it was just like glimpses, you kind of see like where his personality and his choices have solidified into what they're doing.
And he's gotten better at what he does, right? So like Luthen sends him to Gorman for an assessment, which
Hmm.
he's like, it's different, right? Like usually he's getting in to steal something, to kill someone, whatever.
Yeah, he usually has a
Um,
task.
so for him to be their contact, right? Like Luthen is sending him for the first time to make contact with that quote rebellion
Yeah.
to see if it's something that they can use. And I think his assessment was pretty correct in that they were like way over their heads and it wasn't worth getting involved. Like
I
it's
wish he would have sussed out Cyril though.
I was wondering because I could tell that this is what was happening. Like Cassian was coming to Gorman, Cyril was in
Was
Gorman,
the
and honestly, I um Cyril at the beginning, I was like, there is no way that this man is a revolutionary. What is going on? And that one phone call, I was like, knew it. This man, we pegged him day
Mhm.
one. He is a company man through and through. There's nothing that will change him. And so I was worried that Cassian was going to get sussed out by Cyril, but when they said that he was going to Coruscant, I was like, oh, that's how they avoided that because
I wanted Cassian to like stick around and like spy on it and realize that Cyril's the guy, and he would have been like, y'all in
there's
trouble.
well, I was waiting
Not.
for them to like maybe drop his name when they were talking about that they have someone in ISB or
I didn't think they would
whatever.
drop a name. I thought that maybe like Cassian would stick around to kind of like scope out from afar and then see him and be like,
Yeah.
guys,
I mean, I feel like
you lost your rebellion already.
I feel like they're building up to this like big like Cassian, Dedra, Cyril,
Oh
and
yeah,
Luthen
definitely.
moment. And I can't wait to see it.
So the actress that plays Dedra made a comment in an interview recently that when she was getting ready for the role, she researched female psychopaths.
You see it in this
Yes, yes, but
episode.
she like that's how she like prepared for this role was she did research on female psychopaths. So,
Like her commitment to the role is insane. But yeah, so like seeing Cassian as the fashion designer and seeing so this is the first time we see Cassian go in and out of character
yeah.
so abruptly like
Mhm.
Luthen does.
Yeah.
And so that's where I was like, oh, this man has learned,
He's had
right?
some experiences in the last year.
And so that's
And he
where
calls them
like,
straight out on their stuff like, you're
yeah,
people tailing me, you need to stop.
they're calling attention to me and it's
Yeah.
not subtle. But
Yeah.
yeah, so going to Cyril, this is an amazing performance from Cyril. I love this for him from start to
He
finish,
doesn't
even though I
annoy me when he appears on screen anymore.
exactly. I'm just like, you know what? The weird relationship aside, like
The
I
situationship is what I've decided it is.
I think no, I think it's like really truly like as much of a relationship as Dedra can have, right? Where Cyril's interests align with hers. And so he and she takes the lead and he follows because like I think he's so enamored with her because she's so competent and so like I don't know.
I think
I
they
don't
both
know.
see an end game, and working with each other is how they both get to that end game.
Yeah. So
So I'm
that's
I'm
where I'm just
sticking with
like,
situationship over relationship.
yeah. So um I loved Cyril in this. I love that from the Empire side, he's doing such a good job and it's showing that he's
Yes.
competent and capable. He literally just is wishing to be called like he just wants to be praised by the people in charge.
Yeah.
And you see that, and I love the like joke they made about like, oh, it sounds familiar when he was talking about how they're too eager to like, and I was like, oh dang. But he took that in stride because it's
Yeah.
true.
Yes.
And then he's sacrificing a lot to do this for Dedra because I think isn't really anybody else that could do it.
No, because the value of Cyril is that he was dishonorably discharged from the police force, which makes him more
Yeah.
from all my NCIS watching and whenever they do like cover stories is like they always want him to
It
be
makes
like,
him more desirable.
yeah.
So he has the actual service
Because
record.
yeah, because it gives them more reason to hate the establishment.
Exactly. So like he is primed and ready to be harvested by a revel like
Yeah.
as a source, but the like he is a company man still through all of the
Yeah.
dishonorable discharge and everything. Like he's still trying to prove himself to the Empire. And the fact that he is doing this like big acting bit,
Yeah.
and I love how he's like, they've been breaking into my apartment every night. Like they're gonna approach me.
Yeah.
And so, but that's the thing is, it's like, and that's how Cassian calls them out. Like, you haven't vetted your source really.
No.
And he even says like they put false documents, like they set you up, and that's what they're doing, right? Like this is off of the comment from a couple episodes ago where Dedra's like, you just need for Gorman for their rebellion to make one wrong move to turn the entire empire against them.
Yeah.
Um, well, I just need a side note. I hate spiders, and every moment that we are on this forsaken planet and there's just like images of spiders
And then they're like selling toy
everywhere.
spiders. Like it.
Oh, they're
Like it.
hiding messages in spiders. I cannot. I
Mm.
do love the
Yeah.
moment where Cyril's mom was like, I'm gonna name my spider Cyril. It's like this woman does not give this man a day of peace.
No.
Like she drags him every day. But Dedra, I think, is an interesting character in these episodes because like I can't tell if she's happy that Cyril is helping her and succeeding, or if she's just leveraging that. And that's where you could see like she did study psychopaths because like she has no even in the moment where like he comes to visit her so that they could spend time together, she had him followed to make sure that he wasn't followed. Which was really interesting. And then she's like, we only have an hour. And
Yeah.
he's just like waiting. And then when she's just like, turn out the lights, I was like, oh, because like one of the subtexts of these three episodes, I think, and this is where like Luthen is losing his mind, is that the unraveling of storylines is because of personal relationships,
Yes.
right? Like Cassian is unraveling because Bix is not okay, and Luthen can't control that. He even says it to Luthen. He's like, we're not droids, though
Yeah.
I think Dedra is as close to a droid as you could get in a human in terms.
Don't speak about my droids that way. You're coming after my
No,
droids.
but I mean, in terms of like lack of like emotional involvement where it could like compromise a plan, right? Because like everywhere
No.
things,
Have you seen some of these droids? Some of these droids are more emotional. Like C-3PO is like literally the opposite of Dedra. He's so emotional. Droids are
but
emotional
I
beings.
think like a droid's personalities are a result of the people that they are with, right? So C3PO.
So what does that mean for Chopper, who is like homicidal? Like
Whose droid was he?
he's been around a few people. Like he hangs out with Sabine, he hangs out with Ahsoka. Like we haven't gotten there, so we're not gonna dive into that yet. But
Okay.
still, like
So maybe I might start watching with the intention of seeing like how droids' personalities develop. But that being said, like Cassian and Bix, and even like it gets hint with Mon and Vel, where
Yeah.
Mon asks Luthen, like, I haven't heard from my cousin. Where is she? Tell her to call me. And he's like, which what would it
What do you?
serve you?
Yeah.
And she was like,
That
because
I
I care
care.
about
Yeah.
her. And he just looks so like, oh, I did not factor that into this. Like
Yeah.
they're, but I,
Related.
yeah, they're related. But I feel like that's what's happening in every storyline is you're starting to see the emotional ties
Mhm.
unravel.
Well, and even beyond that, with Luthen and his assistant girly,
I don't know her name.
funny that that's why I went with assistant
But the
girly.
fight that they
That
had,
relationship is unraveling, and that was kind of like the core building of Luthen's
yeah.
plans is having her, and that
Well,
is
I think because like she's
chaos.
so like to the point. I think this episode she surprised him because when she talks about like their bug is gonna get found, he like devolves and he's like, "You're the one who pushed so hard to put a bug in that man's office, and we haven't learned any real information." And this is the first time you see kind of Luthen be like, "There's too much information coming in." Like nothing is really important and now they're dealing with an issue that could
Mhm.
expose them. But like I'm on her side, like who would have thought something like this? But and the listening device did what it was supposed to do, which was warn them. It could have in the future
Yeah,
given them more information, but it was a thing.
yeah,
Um but I think that was kind of the core of these three episodes. It's like the emotional attachments
yes,
are what have been a problem. So with Luthen, I think everywhere he turned, people were combating him for other people, right? So like I'm worried about a year from now about how Vel is going to be, right? Because she's going to check in with Mon. She's going to tell Mon what happened, which was wild. Wild. I had a feeling though, because when Cinta came back and they had that conversation in the coffee shop, which was funny because like Cassian is like, "Are you spying on me?" And I was like, "It has to be Vel. Like,
yeah,
who else would be following Cassian and he won't notice?"
yeah.
Um, and so when Vel and Cinta were having that conversation, I was like, I think one of these two is gonna die.
Yeah.
I truly believe in each episode set we're gonna get a main character death.
Mhm.
And so technically Cinta is not a main character, but she's still beloved, right? And it was such a cheap shot.
Yeah,
Like,
of all
and
the
the way
ways.
she died, and it was just like a whole thing. But here's the rub. Cassian was right. If they had pulled back and let those people implode on, they didn't even have to participate. They could have just made the plan and see, like, we want to see you execute and see how well you can follow along. Because, like, I feel like she had the feeling in that meeting that that kid wasn't going to follow orders.
Yeah,
And that's where it was just kind of like, why didn't you just like say it in that meeting that this is not going to work?
yeah,
Or search everyone before going because it's like, how did you miss a blaster in his jacket? You just trusted that he wouldn't bring one? That idiot? Could tell he was an idiot from the beginning.
yeah.
So that's where it was just kind of like, I'm curious to see how, like, I feel like Luthen is going to devolve more and more.
Hmm.
Because he's not, I can't remember. As much as I love Rogue One, it's one of my, I think it's my favorite. Until the new trilogy came out, but I was just like, I can't remember the details because it's been so long since I've seen it. But like
I
he's
kind of
not in
kept
it.
it. I've kind of kept away from rehashing Rogue One because I want to go into it with Andor
Yeah, on
on
the
the brain.
brain.
So I have not searched to like double check which cast members are there. I'm like kind of leaving it on.
Yeah. Well, because like we're slowly getting introduced to cast members that were in Rogue One. I don't remember what they did, but like I know that they're there. Like the big general guy was there, right? Like the big bad. And then this weird storyline on the side with the little kid from Ferrex. I forget his name.
Yeah.
Harry? It's not Harry. I've been calling him Harry. Um I don't understand what they're doing with that whole.
I'm curious because it has me curious. It's not like a I don't understand and I'm not okay with it. I'm like I'm curious where this is building to.
Well, because it just feels nonsensical and uninteresting to
Because
me in this
what is
moment.
the guy's name that's kind of in charge of that? Um,
The crazy guy with the soft voice. I don't remember. Um, oh, that kid's name is Willman.
I'm trying to think of the other guy's name.
Does it start with an S? Forrest Whitaker's character is
Yeah.
Saw Gerrera.
Yes.
Yeah, so like he's unhinged. And I am worried about this kid. So I'm just like, I'm watching with like just caution because everything about that storyline freaks me out. I don't understand where it's going. I feel like I don't care about this kid as much as I should.
I think the kid is a way to bring in Saw Gerrera
Yeah.
because
So,
he has also appeared in the animated series of the Clone Wars.
but yeah. So I'm
He is
curious to see where
also
that
in
goes.
Rogue One.
I knew he was in Rogue One. I just don't
And
remember what his storyline was.
yeah.
That's why I'm just like, I think I know like some of these people that are in Rogue One, but I don't remember why. The only,
Yeah.
but yeah.
So it
So
might the kid might be a way of bringing him in to catch up to Rogue One.
yeah. So that's where it's like, and I like the little glimpses of Mon Mothma that we're getting, where she's still like very much fighting for the rights of individual planets.
Yes.
And she's basically getting stonewalled by everyone who doesn't want to go against the Empire because it's just like not in their planet's best interest to fight
Hmm.
or to be seen as opposing the Emperor. I was wondering if we were ever going to see Palpatine at all in this show, um, like in the Senate or anything. But
Yeah.
it is interesting to me. It's getting like the politics of the this is getting a little bit more interesting. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping that they'll expand in it in the next set.
How
Um,
did you feel about seeing, and you may not have picked up the connection, Bail Organa?
are we talking about Benjamin Bratt's character?
I believe so, because he replaced
Yeah,
the.
they did a yeah, he replaced the other gun. I mean, I like seeing him because like we know that the Organa he's a senator. So
Mhm.
like realistically like I have seen Obi-Wan, so like
Okay,
I
I wasn't sure if you had
know.
seen Obi-Wan
No,
yet.
I've seen
Oh,
Obi-Wan. So that's where I'm just like I like that they like she's a senator in the Senate.
it
It
makes
makes
sense to see
sense
him.
to see him and it's kind of just like a little throwback like he doesn't talk about his daughter at all, right? Because like
Okay, so yes, Princess Leia is alive during the events of Andor. The series takes place 5 years before A New Hope, meaning Leia is still a
she's
young girl. Well,
She's like a, I wonder if she's similar in age to Lena, like a few years older. What's her name? That stupid girl,
it
the
looks
senator's
like
daughter.
okay, so young Leia won't appear in Andor season 2. Um,
I just wonder if we'll ever get a reference to the
so it
fact,
looks like she's probably around 15 years old
yeah,
during Andor based on Reddit. So don't come at
yeah,
me if it
no,
is wrong, but based on Reddit,
no, but
she
that
should be
timeline
around.
makes sense because
Yeah,
we're
season 2,
now,
episode 1 is set in 4 BBY, which would make Leia 15.
yeah,
So that means the section we're covering, she is 16.
yeah. So that's why I'm like,
Yeah.
she's old enough. So her daughter is his daughter. So Leia is the same age as Mon Mothma's daughter.
Yeah.
Because this is a year later, so now she's 16. So I don't know. I'm curious to see if we ever get a mention of her because he hasn't mentioned her, or if he's going to be a little bit more involved because, like, we know that their two politics align.
Hmm.
And they might be the two outspoken people about said politics, right? So that's where I'm just kind of like, I want to see how this goes. So, until next time, we're not the droids you're looking for.
But we're the droids you're gonna get.